Hi, everyone. Good to see you again. I'm Vladimir Duthiers. Anne-Marie Green is off, but she will be back on Monday. We want to begin this morning, though, with some breaking news. Former advisor for President Trump, Steve Bannon, has been indicted by New York prosecutors. He is one of 4 people facing fraud charges linked to an online fundraising campaign known as We Build the Wall. Prosecutors say it raised more than $25 million and included hundreds of thousands of donors. I want to bring in right away Rebecca Roiphe. She is joining me on the telephone. Rebecca is a lawyer and a legal contributor at CBS News and joins me now to talk about all this. So, Rebecca, I know the details are just coming in right now, but how do you understand, what do you understand about them, and how big of a problem is this for Mr. Bannon, given that he's been taken into custody?
I think it's a fairly big problem. It looks like wire fraud and mail fraud case, which essentially means you lie to donors, telling them that the money is going to a particular charitable source here, building the wall, and in fact, much of the money, a good portion of the money went to him and others personally for their personal use. It also looks as if he seems, at least in the indictment, he seems to have tried to hide the fact that he was taking this money, which is significant in that it helps to show that his intent was, in fact, to take this money. So that cuts off a defense he might have used, which was, oh, this was an accident, the money was meant to go to the wall. So, these are fairly serious charges coming out of the Southern District of New York and, not insignificant. The maximum penalty is 20 years. Of course, a judge will have to decide what he actually faces, which will depend on the amount that he took and the number of victims. But, it seems significant.
Yeah, here's what Acting U.S. Attorney Audrey Strauss says. As alleged, the defendants defrauded hundreds of thousands of donors, capitalizing on their interest in funding a border wall to raise millions of dollars under the false pretense that all of that money would be spent on construction, while repeatedly assuring donors that Brian Kolfage, as I hope I'm pronouncing that right, the founder and public face of We Build the Wall, would not be paid a cent. The defendants secretly schemed to pass hundreds of thousands of dollars to Kolfage, which he used to fund his lavish lifestyle. An investigation like this doesn't happen overnight, but it is interesting that this is sort of breaking news, and most were unaware that Mr. Bannon and his partners were being investigated.
Yes, that's true. And, just to remind everybody, it wasn't long ago that Attorney General Barr tried to get rid of, or in fact did get rid of, the United States Attorney, Jeff Berman, and there was a whole kind of brouhaha over that and concern that what was happening was political interference with the investigations in the Southern District of New York. Now, there's no proof, no evidence that that's what Barr was trying to do, but this public statement that the Southern District is now coming out with this indictment, which certainly has political implications, does give some kind of fuel to those rumors. Now, again, there's no proof. That's not at all clear that that's what Attorney General Barr was doing. But, it's quite alarming that the Southern District, which is known for independence and was known to have been involved in these politically sensitive investigations, if not this one, which, again, as you said, is totally news to everybody, but they were known to be involved in other politically sensitive investigations. It then makes us look back at that incident once more and think to ourselves, what was going on there? What was the administration trying to do?
Yeah, although so my sense is that even if there are attempts by the Attorney General to put the brakes on things that may be problematic for the administration, are you at least heartened that the work of the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York continues? I mean, these things are still happening.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Give me your sense of that.
Absolutely. That's totally 100% right. Our institutions are so strong, and that's important to keep in mind that, what happened in that incident was that Attorney General Barr was going to try to handpick the acting prosecutor. And instead, because Jeff Berman resisted, his deputy ended up taking over. Now, I have no reason to believe that whoever he was going to put in place wouldn't have also allowed these investigations to go forward. But partially, our confidence here, comes in part from the fact that these career prosecutors have stayed in their jobs and have, and we have a huge amount of confidence, or at least, we ought to have a huge amount of confidence in them because they are not political actors. They are simply doing their job. And so I think this is a real sign that our institutions are very solid and can withstand a lot of pressure if that's what's going on. Again, there's so much speculation, and it's so hard to know what actually was happening there. But people are right. They're correct in being concerned because things are unprecedented. It was certainly unprecedented the way that Barr was trying to replace the United States attorney, and that the United States attorney managed to leave in such a way that he left someone in place who still had confidence as a career official who would continue these sorts of investigations. So I think you're absolutely right that this isn't. That American democracy is very strong. American institutions are very strong. And, it's hard to tell exactly what is going on with this administration, whether they're trying in this particular instance to weaken those institutions. But if they were, they did not succeed. And that is the message to be taken. So that's really important to point out.
And, all of what I'm reading, and again, this is still sort of just breaking, and we're just getting the information and looking through the indictment now, but, there's no connection, at least at this point, to the President of the United States. Bannon is no longer associated with the administration. But so it strikes me that this is essentially, what prosecutors are alleging is that they capitalized on this build the wall sentiment. They knew that there were some people, the president's supporters and others, who wanted to help build the wall. And Bannon was part of the administration who helped develop that messaging when President Trump first came into office. And so they, they defrauded people who probably had a genuine interest in helping to build the wall, but that's what it seems like. It seems like your common sort of swindle people who are sending in money for what they believe is something that they feel strongly about, and essentially swindling them out of their cash.
Absolutely. So while Bannon is in some ways connected with the president, and so this might cast some kind of shadow over Trump himself, it really does not at all seem like a politically motivated investigation or indictment. This is prosecutors following facts and evidence, and we have to look at who's being protected here. It's actually, largely Trump supporters who have, as you say, genuinely donated money or thought that they were donating money to a cause that they believe in. And those people deserve to have their money, spent the way that they designated they think it's being spent. And this is just, classic garden variety fraud. If the Southern District proves these allegations, then this shouldn't be seen as a prosecution that is, going after Trump or is some way politically motivated or even political at all, because basically we're just protecting victims the way that prosecutors do every day. And so the fact that Bannon was connected to the president or the victims or Trump supporters or whatever, none of that really matters. What matters is there was a crime committed, if this is proved, and that the people responsible for that should be held accountable. And, that's exactly what our legal system and Justice Department is about, holding people accountable regardless of who they are.